Welcome to Family We've Got Your Back. This is episode, 41? Something like that?
I believe it is.
Yeah, isn't that exciting? Wow, it's almost
crazy.
been a whole year.
Yeah.
You know, it's October and we haven't missed. Trent is tall today because I used his chair for stuff. And he didn't want to move it off, so he gets to be tall and sit on a bar stool.
I am naturally tall anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, he's going to be like a foot taller than me today in the podcast.
Because I'm tall.
Yeah, because you're tall. and you play basketball.
I have
And this next week, are you going to be back by Friday?
No.
Oh, we better record another one before you leave. See, he's going to go play in the senior summer games.
I'm an Olympian.
It's not Olympics, it's summer games.
It's not summer games.
It's the senior summer Olympics?
I don't know.
He wants to be an Olympian. So he and his brothers and friends are going to go play basketball in the senior summer games.
Because I'm a senior.
Because he's a senior. The date, the deadline for being 50 is on his birthday, actually, December 31st. Yeah. So he gets to play.
I will be officially the youngest person in the senior games.
Yes, isn't that exciting?
It's exciting.
Yes, so he's going to go play. So
I'm kind of the ringer. No, whatever. All of my brothers are playing with me are way more talented than I am in this regard.
He's the body.
Not even that.
The big body of the team.
I am a happy participant.
We love you so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway, so the intro is actually has something to do with what we're actually going to talk about. So he was playing with his buddies basketball last night.
Different group of buddies.
Some locals. And anyway, so last night we had a training on helping children on the autism spectrum in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
how to teach them,
Yeah, how to teach them and how to help them be in a classroom setting, right? And that meeting was scheduled for the building, but not for a specific room. And he scheduled that specific room, the gym that we were in, for an 8:30 game, a practice session, so that he could practice for his, Olympic moment, right? Yes. So he actually put it on the schedule. And the meeting was, yes, scheduled, but not for that specific room. And so they pushed back their basketball practice for several minutes so that we could have time to finish our meeting.
Just finish it up.
So they were being considerate, right? And just not invading and saying, hey, your guys are done, right? And so the meeting ended, and Trent went to go change his clothes. And people were still sitting and chatting. And the guys were there putting the hoops down and
help them put away the chairs
and just doing bouncing the basketballs. They couldn't put away the chairs because people's bottoms were still in them.
Some people were still sitting in their chairs,
right?
Yeah.
And so during that meeting, we learned that children on the autism spectrum have difficulty recognizing social cues. Right? Typical social cues. Yeah. And his example was, if you go up to a shy person, they don't have to say a word, but they tell you.
Yep.
They want you to back off, right? Like you're in their bubble and they're like, right? And so you see what they want without them saying anything, right? So the social cue is go away, right? Leave me alone, get out of my bubble, or back off, or take a step back. Something like that, right? Well, children on this autism spectrum don't catch that. They need specific, they need to be told in kind, specific ways. They're not subtle. They don't get subtle.
No.
And that's why my family thinks I'm on the spectrum, because I don't get subtle either. But anyway, let's not talk about that.
Let's not talk about that.
I am socially awkward, and I do not often get subtle right? There's not a subtle bone in my body.
There's not.
There's just not. I like to be told. I like directness. I like, if there's food in my teeth, I would like to be told, you know, even I'll get that, right? Yeah. But I would like to be informed, right?
Anyway.
So my point is, because Trent was not there, and he was the official scheduler of the next meeting, and he was activity, and he was not in the room to tell the people to, you know, leave. Because first of all, you're not supposed to be there anyway, and second of all, you've overstayed your welcome, right?
Oh, the meeting is over.
The meeting's over. So
you haven't overstayed your welcome, but the meeting is over.
The meeting's over. Yeah. And the next meeting, the next group that actually has the room reserved is here waiting for you to leave so that they can do their thing, right? So it doesn't matter if one is a meeting to help special needs children and another one is basketball. It doesn't matter. It matters that your group has overstayed your welcome. Basically, you're no longer entitled to the
that space, yeah,
right? So I'm thinking, how do we
facilitate this transfer?
Yes, we need a transition. So I said,
there was refreshments.
There were
refreshments,
and they were over in the kitchen, right? So I said, if everybody wouldn't mind going into the hall and getting their refreshments over by the kitchen, so that they can have their basketball practice, that would be really great. Thank you. Nobody moved. Not a single person
This
moved.
wasn't even subtle.
No, this was not even a subtle social cue, right? It's like, hello there. The subtle was the basketball standards being lowered and the bouncing of the basketballs and the passing back and forth and them trying to...
Which wasn't particularly subtle either.
Obvious. It was obvious to me that they were no longer... The meeting's over, you need to leave so that we can do this other thing, right? But in their minds, oh, it's just basketball. They didn't schedule it. Our meeting is more important. This is real. This is not... You know what I mean? Like, our presence is more... Or our purpose is more important than theirs, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your meeting is over. You need to leave. And it doesn't matter if you believe you're entitled to the room and they're not. It doesn't matter. Right? And so, and this is where
things went south.
Things went south. I said, you guys loudly, I was slightly more polite than this, but I was like, you guys realize that we just had a meeting about recognizing social cues, and if we want our children to recognize them, then we need to as well. So can you please go out in the hall and continue your conversations out in the hall? Nobody left. They were still the people who were talking stayed there. And there was a group of 4 ladies in the middle of the room, in the middle of the court, just sitting there talking. And I'm like, I'm done. And I was getting angrier and angrier and angrier. Like, oh my word. How is this
happening?
How is this happening? How can people be so dense?
Right.
How can people be so rude that are there for a caring, loving reason and who claim to be caring, loving people? How can they be so opposite of that? Right? And so you can see how angrier and angrier, and I get home and my daughter had parked in the driveway so I couldn't park in the garage because she's blocking the garage, and
anger.
Like, I'm getting
flames
shooting out of the side of my face. You get 10 points if you know that line from what movie that comes and who said it. Anyway, so yeah, and it just got worse from there. And so by bedtime, I am so riled up and angry that I can't fall asleep. And then I realize the next morning, no, Trent, did you take a shower? And after your shower, that's when I realized?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. And I'm like, Oh, the reason I am so angry is because da 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 da. I was also a hypocrite.
Oh, there,
Right?
there's where the rubber hits the road.
Oh,
yeah.
So guess what we're talking about today? 10 minutes into it. Don't be a hypocrite, right?
Yeah.
Hypocrisy is awful, right? Okay, so here's the definition. A person who acts in contradiction to his or her stated beliefs or feelings. So obviously, my hypocritical moment was, I do not think it's appropriate to be disrespectful or inconsiderate or angry at people. I don't think I do not want to be an angry person. I do not believe that anger needs to be a part of my life. And yet...
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be judgmental or rude. And guess what? I was.
Yeah.
And so therefore, that's where the anger came from, is I made a mistake trying to do the right thing. Right? Trying to help my husband with his goal to be an Olympian. And... and I totally blew it, right? And so after the fact, like, I'm great after the fact. I always think of what to say afterward. Like, oh, that's what I should have said. But in the moment, I get emotionally involved, and there's my downfall.
There it is.
If I can stay emotionally, not aloof, but like, and not even neutral, but more checked, keep them in proper bounds, like, or like less selfish. Let's put it this way. If I start to think about how it's affecting me and myself and how upsetting it is to me, and I get upset that way, then I never react well.
Well,
and I have the emotions that I don't believe that that are unbecoming.
Well, and we're not saying that you should be walked, that you should let yourself be walked all over.
Right.
You can advocate for yourself in ways that you can maintain that inner peace.
And that are appropriate, right? So what I should have done, I realized, was go to the lady who scheduled the meeting improperly and say, they have the gym scheduled and they've given us plenty of time. If you wouldn't mind letting everybody know that they need to leave so that they can use the room now. And it's an actual scheduled event and not just them showing up, right?
Right. Well, or, I mean, my experiences as a teacher, when I ask the class to do something, there's always going to be people that are just not going to do it, right? But if I do personal invitations, then it's going to be more effective. But that's not what we're talking about anyway. So, but there are ways to do it. There are ways to do it that
don't make you a hypocrite.
That don't make you a hypocrite.
Right.
And so we need to search out those.
So yeah,
ways.
they were usurping in a way, and I usurped authority.
Right.
And my dad would say, "When are you going to learn your place?" And I'll say, "Apparently never." But I'm working on it.
Right.
Right? Because after the fact, I realized, I should have gone through proper channels instead of just doing it myself, right?
Right.
Because they recognized that I had no authority over the meeting. And so they're going to listen to me.
Yeah.
Like they care. They didn't care that my husband was a leader of the group. They didn't care. They didn't know me. They didn't care that he...
Well, and yeah... And it is unfortunate because, we were... He
was the leader of both groups.
We were happy to be there.
Yeah.
And we were willing to be patient about it, because we recognize there's a time and a place for everything, and if we got enough playtime yesterday.
Right.
Know? And so once again, there's...
But I was the impatient one.
Yes.
Because I wanted him to have as much practice time as he could. And anyway, and so it was a stupid situation that you can laugh at and say, oh, that's so dumb that she got so upset about people being stupid. or whatever you want to say. Like, they were just unaware that, like, it was so ironic to me that we were in a meeting to recognize social cues, or to learn to teach our children about social cues, and they were so oblivious. And I'm like, no wonder.
No wonder we're having this training.
No wonder we're having this training, right? And I was like, finger pointing, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person.
No,
I don't believe in being that person.
Nor is your heart okay with being that person.
And so, how do we not be hypocrites? How do we not? How do we?
Well,
for me, it's being less selfish emotionally.
Yeah. But then there's also the thing too that we're all going to aspire to have specific traits that are good, that we fall short every single time, and so we're all hypocrites in some regard. So that means that we need to try to not be judgmental.
Yeah.
But we need to recognize that, yeah, we're going to fall short regularly and often. unless we can get above whatever the thing that we're, whatever the challenge is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like help. Anybody have advice on this one? Because obviously I'm not qualified. But anyway, yeah, so I guess what we're saying is being a hypocrite is bad. And we're all born with a conscience. Some people call it many different things. The spark within us that knows that you cannot
teaches right and wrong.
Yeah, that you cannot do wrong and feel right. And so I guess the clue for me that you're being hypocritical or you're in the wrong in some way and you're acting opposite or opposing your beliefs and value system and how you think you should be or do or think or say or whatever it is that you're doing, thinking, or saying, and you cannot feel good in that situation if you're opposing your beliefs. That conscience. And if you pay attention to that and nurture I'm not doing right, I should correct that, then you will get a more sensitive conscience, right? But if you bury that and excuse it and rationalize it away and say, well, they were in the wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just trying to defend myself or
right.
Whatever words or thoughts that you use to explain away why it's okay that you did what you did, you will be less and less sensitive to doing what's right and wrong. And then nothing you choose is wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's no right and wrong. Right?
And that becomes a very, very...
a slippery slope.
So,
I guess what I'm saying is pay attention. If you are feeling upset or angry in a situation or angsty in any way or negative in any way, think, okay, what did I do? Not what did they do.
Right.
But what did you do that contributed to the
what did I do to give up my power to them?
Yes.
Right?
And not just to them, but what did you do that was against what you believe?
Right.
And how stupid that it took me a couple hours to realize, I was in the wrong too. No wonder I'm mad.
Yeah.
And as soon as I realized that, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I stopped feeling angry and could fall asleep, right?
Yeah.
So.
Used to be that you wouldn't sleep all night.
Oh, no. I would stir it and stir it and stir it. Yeah. I'm too old for that now.
Thank heavens.
My arm muscles aren't strong enough to be stirring that anger up.
No.
So, yeah. So, when you feel that negativity, recognize it and own your hypocrisy and fix it as much as you can and change it for the future so you don't make that same mistake.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck this week in your
process.
assignment of recognizing your hypocrisy. Because nobody wants to be a hypocrite.
No.
I don't think anybody likes that label.
No.
So, yeah, choose not to earn it. Choose not to earn the label of hypocrite this week. Good job.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so if you have any tips for us or would like any more idiotic examples of what not to do,
tune in for next time.
yeah, let us know. Family, we've got your back at gmail.com or through any of the social media sites, or leave a comment anywhere. And anyway, have a good rest of the week.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.